down, cut down the fire department, but you don't shut them down.
Right.
So you took the building inspector and the board of health, shut them down, you could at least give them half a week or, so you
Well-
do some inspection.
Yeah, but that's not
what was voted.
that's not what was voted by
I
the
know,
town.
I'm just saying, I'm just thinking of common sense, which, you know, we don't use that no more.
Just a question, would it be legal for the Board of Selectmen to allow, for example, the Board of Health, the previous inspector, Phil, to go and do a perk test and have the cost borne by the person selling the home? Is that a vote that you could, for example, take tonight and say that he's allowed to go out and do this on behalf of the town because you know he's trustworthy, right? Can he do that and then have the cost borne by the guy selling the house so he can sell his house?
The legal research that we would have to get, because it's not the way that we usually do business, and it's something that usually taxpayer money pays him to do that. So now, the legal work that would go into that would push us past July 1st anyway. To even find out if we can do that, it would, because obviously this problem. Then we will have a board of health. There's always a board of health. We will have someone be able to pay a health agent, whoever that is, to go out and do these starting in 3 weeks. It's just those kinds of solutions, while they may be creative, again, will take more time to put together than we have left in the fiscal
Well,
year.
is it not true that it's a catch-22 because it's really not legal, the current situation, not to have somebody to be able to do those tests? So if you flip the coin, which is the greater risk? Not letting the guy sell his house, or erring on the side of letting him do that?
The law says we do what town meeting says, so that town meeting said no funding for that, so there is no funding for that. The override failed. We told everybody this would happen. It failed. This is a democracy. That was the will of the people, so we are abiding by that. We told people whole departments would be shut down. We said those exact words. Whole departments will shut down. The way Templeton does business will change forever. People decided to vote no. That's fine. I'm not criticizing them. That's their right. But we had all of these discussions for the months leading up to the override vote, and this is what people voted. So people start to then question that they start thinking that you're doing things inappropriate when we voted no to this. We said we didn't want to fund that position, and now suddenly, wait, I see that guy's out there working. We voted no, and then to have to explain to them, we went through this legal process to have individuals pay him. You know, it's yeah.
I believe town council was asked this question at town meeting, and he said it's not illegal to not have a board of health agent or not to have a building inspector. It's not illegal.
Just like it's not, we could get rid of the entire police department and not even have a police department. That's not illegal either. The state would have to step in. In this situation, I think if we permanently didn't have a board of health, someone from the state would have to step in to do this. But because it's only for a month, we asked them, and the state is not interested in sending someone to assist us for only a 30-day period. So, okay, is there anything else on this topic? If not, moving on down. We took care of that. We discussed MBI broadband. I believe it's Mr. Selectman Morrison.
No,
Oh, it's not. Okay.
I mean,
It is now.
We have to get internet into East Templeton, but that'll have to come through Comcast. I don't know a lot of information about the MBI broadband project other than the goal is that they run fiber down, through the center of the state, and the purpose of the broadband project is to allow all cable companies to compete in every town. Like right now, you negotiate with Comcast, so everybody in Templeton who wants cable has Comcast. Once the MBI broadband project comes into play, my understanding is that all of the cable companies can now compete within Templeton. So I could have Comcast, Kim could have Time Warner, Diane could have Charter. So we all in Templeton have the same thing. And the broadband, the fiber, is what will allow that to happen. Now, if you've got other information, then
We need to contact MBI, Christine Hatch. I was appointed to do the communications with MBI. I attended a number of sessions and meetings when they were first getting the trunk line put in. That stopped after Jeff Ritter came on, he took that over and then it's fallen through the cracks. So we need to pick up on that as a town and find out the process to go out to bid, we can accept an ISP provider. There's different steps that we have to take, but we need to start that up
Okay.
soon, because that's going to impact the schools, it's going to impact public safety, the library, and the town. And then fiber to the home is different. Will give more opportunity for people to have more choices in their house.
I'll give you a report on the 23rd.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you very much. Any other questions from the board? Okay, if not, discuss social media board policy. Is this a selectman?
Yeah,
Karen Brooks.
that was a new thing, so that we could talk about that. We post stuff on our town website, but we do have, I believe in like sort of unofficial Facebook page. But I just wanted to make sure that who's doing that. I know Holly's doing that right now, and I think it's a good thing. There are a lot of people out there, but I think that we should either develop or find like who's going to do that. We also talked about a YouTube channel. Right now we are borrowing someone else's and posting on it, and I have gotten some flack for that. So I think that we should have our own, and just really like what are we going to put on there to, you know, it's just another way to communicate with people besides the newspaper, besides just the town website, you know, and how we do all that stuff. So I mean, there's only going to be one person in the selectman's office. I'm happy to upload videos and all of that. I don't really know, I mean, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, so I wanted to open up that discussion. I'm happy to go online and see if any other town has a social media policy, you know, and just to really say what do we want, how are we going to do that. Facebook is a funny place where you can get spammed, you can get, you know, ours is, I think we have a business page and like a page that you can friend. Holly and I have talked about that, and I said, you know, kind of like don't friend any other people, because it's not supposed to be a personal page. You're a business, you're not, you know, or you're an organization. So, you know, like I said, I think it's just the start of those discussions and one other avenue to be able to communicate with the public, you know, in a more, you know, younger generation kind of way, you know, so.
And that may be a good idea too for us, like on our own time as well, to kind of just,
Yeah, think
when we have a
about,
couple minutes, tool around in some other towns
Yeah.
and see.
do they have anything? I don't know, I've not even really ventured to look at that. Just, you know, I thought it was a good idea that we created something, it's worked. A lot of people, you know, go there, but it's just, like I said, it's another avenue to really like talk to people.
Right. As anything,
That's all.
it's a good opportunity, but it also has its pitfalls that are
Right.
unique to it, so.
I don't want to open us up to something that is not needed, so, that's all.
Is there any other discussion on that? Okay, if not, town office move update.
We need to pick a date.
Yeah. Well, first off, let's talk about, we had Monty Tech at the building today. They did the pressure test on the plumbing. They did find a couple of small leaks, which they repaired. So the plumbing is in good condition, no leaks, so no issues to turn the water on. So we should ask the Light and Water Department to turn the water on as soon as possible. Second thing is the volunteers have been working, you know, 6 days a week. We've got a crew of about 4 truly dedicated volunteers, you know, working. They've got a lot of stuff done. The place is all cleaned up. All of the junk is gone. The stuff that the town could sell, we've moved down to the cellar. So that's all in good shape. They've started priming the walls to get ready for paint. So I think there's a couple of rooms done by now. They've done a lot of spackling. You know, just a ton of work that they've done. So it's moving along really well. We've got a couple of extremely generous donations. Diana talked to Abishan. They donated all of the primer, all of the paint, plus $200 worth of painting supplies. When she went to get the paint, they said, nope, only the top of the line paint, so they have, made a huge contribution. She talked to carpet cleaners today, steam carpet cleaners. We've got one that's volunteered to clean the carpets, again, at no cost to the town. There have been a lot of citizens, or I wouldn't say a lot, there's been some citizens step up willing to, pay for things like the things Mighty Tech fixed today. Somebody's gonna pay for that. We've had people, pay for lunches and bring in snacks, things like that, as people have been working. So it's becoming a real community effort, and we're making some real good, positive steps.
One more donation I haven't told you about.
Mhm.
Valley's volunteered to give us what we needed to landscape the front of the building.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, but
Yes, sir.
don't forget when we move, we gotta take that sign. We get a new sign made, town office sign.
Oh,
Okay.
Before we move in, you don't have a chance to take it.
yeah.
Okay.
And did you mention the sheriff?
Yep, the sheriffs are here this week. They worked down here packing stuff today because we had Monty Tech at the building today. They'll be working down at the building starting tomorrow for the rest of this week. So then they'll get a lot done as well. So the two big key things that have to get done before we could actually move in are the water and the internet. We've got to have both of those utilities in place before we could actually move in. So we need to work on the water. Did you order the internet already, or?
I have, quote, I have everything and I can order it immediately, but I wanted to have one more conversation with you about the telephones themselves. You must have
Okay.
seen the email where apparently the technology that we're going to be using doesn't work so well with the phone manufacturer that we had chosen.
Yeah, it's just, my opinion is we should stick with the Cisco manufacturer because it's a better quality product.
Mhm.
The technology that lies underneath that makes it work,
Mhm.
it's a technical thing that could make either one of them work. We should let the technology people worry about the technology piece, and we should stick with the piece that.
I just needed to have that conversation, now we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So tomorrow the order goes in and, committee, I had a few doubts after I read that.
Yeah, so,
So,
yeah, I think sticking with the more quality desktop product is the better way to go.
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
I'm very happy the way they took that Baldwinville Road and cut it off coming in on an angle to the highway here, and it gives us more greenery on a common. I've heard many comments when I go down to the Leominster area in regard to how nice it looks. I've always wanted Templeton Center to be like a historical village. That's why I've been putting all my Minutemen up. Unfortunately, they busted all my Minutemen again down on front of my house in East Templeton. Busted them all in half. This is about the third time they've done it. And people have made the remark in my travels that they've always enjoyed seeing them because it reflects on our history of our town. So I intend to replace them again, but nevertheless, it looks real good now that they cut that angle out.
Thank you very much.
So then the last topic around that is, when are we gonna actually move? So, again, the two key things, even though the heat isn't in and the roof hasn't been done, we can still move. Yes, it'll be noisy while they're pounding and working on the roof, and yes, it'll be a little inconvenient when we gotta move stuff out of the guy's way to work on the heat. But there's nothing to really stop us from moving, with the exception of the water and the internet. Those are the two things. As long as those two things are in place, we should be able to move. So,
Signed the contract today for the roof.
mhm.
That'll be, as I mentioned earlier, that'll be completed by July 14th, July 31st, I'm sorry. And we have a resolution of the issue of the heating system. was a question about the bond. That's now resolved.
What day is he coming to the building?
He said he would get back to me.
Okay.
We do need to vote on that because we had voted for a little bit of the.
Right. Yeah, the low bidder has until the 12th to get a payment bond. Has been unsuccessful twice, so that the board, I think, should vote to take the second highest bidder, second lowest bidder, should the low bidder not be able to get the bond in time for June 12th.
Do I have a motion in that regard?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. And this is on the agenda under East Templeton bids contract, so we're not adding things that aren't appropriate. But any other discussion? Yes, sir.
I got a question. There was a, did you get a chance to find out about the back parking lot and expanding it so when, and whether or not the highway department's going to be involved in that process?
Well, when we discussed this last week, I think we discussed this again today, but last week, I understand that that had been a leach field. And I don't know that we have a decision on whether or not to take that fence down and use that as a parking lot.
Yeah, and that's an additional discussion, again, probably wouldn't affect us moving in or not, so. So not to drift away, we need to take the vote.
Oh, sure.
We'll
And
get an
then we'll get back to
evaluation
the
of
date.
that.
Okay, sure. I have a first and a second. Any further discussion on the accepting the second bid and the event if the already accepted contractors unable to obtain the bond in time?
He's not even trying anymore.
Oh, okay. So, Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Okay, so back to the date. Do you have any preference for a date, a move date, Bob, or, I mean, I can,
I talked with Diane today about what would make the most sense.
The 25th.
25th is what we thought would be good day. It's a Wednesday.
So that'll give everybody in the offices Monday and Tuesday to gear up, get ready, get the final stuff done, move on Wednesday, then they have Thursday and Friday to recover. And then Holly has a thought.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
do. Is there any way we could close that week to the public so we could get this done? 2 days to pack up an entire office. Can't be answering the phone and having walk-in customers too.
And it's gonna be difficult to conduct business with your office in a box.
Right, true, and particularly because now all of our departments just about are down to one person, so there's not like there's an assistant or a second person that can be
Right.
packing while you're working, so.
Our regularly scheduled normal next board meeting would be the 23rd. It was the last Monday of the month, right? Is that true? Because I remember I said I would, so are we still gonna do
Well,
that?
that's, yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Just meet
it's just
Next meeting is the
having,
23rd.
well, we can meet here.
And we would, she's asking to close.
Having people come in, the phone ringing all day.
So just,
So what 2 days would it be?
Well, it would be the whole week because Monday and Tuesday we'd have to pass.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday we'd be doing the moving.
Mhm.
Thursday and probably Friday and Saturday we'll be unpacking and setting up over there.
Right. And, well, I mentioned this before, but we do need, we can't have like the sheriffs or community volunteers move everything for us, because obviously anything, the town deals with a lot of confidential information, social security numbers, that kind of thing, both employee records and then also tax collector's office, those kinds of places, account numbers. So the employees that are, you know, legally obligated to protect those records will actually be the ones that will have to, they may not have to carry the box, but they'll have to be watching it to make sure that we have a chain of custody, that those important records are not, no one is looking at things that they shouldn't be looking at. So it's not, like, as you said, it's not as simple as just, oh, here's 20 people doing community service that are gonna show up and just move everything, because the
Right.
employees will have to be involved in protecting the
But once they're
information.
packed up, then people could help out.
Oh, right, people could help out, you know, we could just have, make sure we have an employee that's keeping an eye on
Right.
where they're going the whole
Town
time.
employees are gonna have to be,
Yeah.
And the plan is to have the carpets clean either the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd.
Okay.
I think it makes,
Sorry, yes, go ahead.
it makes sense what Holly's saying, because you're not gonna be able, especially in the selectman's office, and I just can't imagine trying to run the office and packing all that up at the same
Well, you
time.
definitely, if the move date's the 25th, we're not gonna be open for business anyway, because you'll be in transition.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, just as long as we notify people. I mean,
Put it right up on the website.
Yeah.
right, sorry, we're
The
closed
website will be
for-
open, just not.
Right.
Do I have a motion regarding closing town offices just to the public during that week?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Have mercy.
Just to clarify,
Yes, sir.
the motion is to close the week of,
Oh, yeah, the week of,
Yeah.
what was
Close the
23rd
23rd
to the
through the 27th?
23rd to 27th? Okay, was that all that we had for the town office move?
I
And-
just wanted to make one,
Yeah, sure.
actually kind of answer Bud's question. We had talked a little bit about, because of the leach field, we're talking about doing the right side where the playground is.
Third.
So we are gonna have to remove the playground. And I had talked to Alan, he's gonna go and look at it and see if it's good enough to take out and put at another playground. I don't know if it will be, but that's also a big liability to have that playground.
Yeah, there are
In
kids
there,
there
exactly.
before school, right after school. There are kids there in the evening. I mean, that playground.
My kids are there.
Yeah,
Gets used,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely gets
There
used.
used to be.
Yeah.
but speaking of liability, we really don't want people parking on that leach field, I don't think.
Well, we don't know.
Well, not until we
use it
know
anymore,
what's there.
No, there's
You
one
know,
for
but
some,
it's there.
Why not?
gotta be there some.
No, may have been taken out years ago.
I don't
Look at
think
the
so.
grass is all dead above it, I bet.
Oh,
I think it's there.
It's not.
That's
We
not.
don't have to
Fluoride doesn't.
But we need to take that fence out because of where the ramp is gonna have to go now. It's gonna be on that half of the building. So we're gonna have to take that fence out so that when you come in around the end of that building, you're gonna have to swing a little wider to go over and park. So that fence does have to come down. And we're gonna have to put some other kind of barricade up to keep people from parking
In
in
that.
that field.
Because we had originally thought, if you were standing at the back door, we had originally thought the ramp would zigzag this direction. But after really looking at that, it would be zigzagging this way would then interfere with the only place that we could make handicap accessibility to the lower level. So the ramp's gonna have to zigzag this way, in this direction from the back door, which is where the cars would drive around. So we are gonna have to probably take the fence down just to expand that space around the ramp. Whether we park on that grassy area or not, it still probably has to go.
Virginia?
Just one caveat about the closing that week. Taxes
Or
are
do the
due the
23rd?
23rd.
Yeah.
And so some people wait until the last day and come in. So
No, it's,
we're
I
gonna
have it in my
have
car.
to keep that part of it open, I would
Or
think.
perhaps we could, since that's a selectmen's meeting that day also, perhaps we're open on the 23rd and then close
Close the rest of the
Tuesday
week, maybe.
and move on Thursday versus Wednesday.
Yeah.
Possibility.
Or just the tax collector's open like that.
Yeah, we could do that, and then another employee that maybe has less to pack or something could go assist Carolee with her packing while,
Yeah.
yeah, we probably should keep the tax collector's office. I mean, I know we really don't need the money, but we probably should keep that door open, but, thank you, Virginia. Yes, sir.
Speaking of money, what happened to that $300,000 they handed to the town? Have we received that yet from the will? Anybody, what's the story on that? Didn't the fella pass and his wife, they left
Noah.
him? No, it wasn't Noah.
Is that what went to the library?
Not Foss?
There are two gifts.
Huh?
Two gifts, I'm not
$150,000.
aware that the money has come in, but I was informed by the chief of police that there's a $300,000 gift.
Wow.
Wow.
He gets $150,000 and the library gets
Yes,
$150,000.
I guess that's.
Wow.
Yeah, I had heard about that.
Yes, sir.
Now that we've opened up the discussion on
Yeah,
money,
Sorry, yeah.
at the East Templeton School is some supplies that would be needed to do certain things. One would be build a false wall around the bottom of both front rooms where the old steam pipes were, 2x8, some wood on the top, maybe some more sheetrock and stuff, but can we dump some money into a fund to do that? I mean, now's the time to do it. Well, I don't know what it would cost, more than willing to do the work, but I can't supply all the stuff.
What do you need for material?
2x6s, insulation.
Insulation I don't have,
Steal
but I
any
do
more
have a-
sheetrock from the senior center?
We got
How
some
much
insulation
sheetrock
at
do
the
you need?
senior center too that we can use.
No, that's,
What's that?
How much sheetrock do you need?
We got the sheet rock.
I'd say we probably got the sheetrock. I wouldn't want to use that fire rated stuff though, so we probably would need some. I'd say maybe 15 sheets would do it.
15 sheets?
We're doing the outside of both rooms, all the
Right.
way, like I talked about.
Yeah.
Can you get a list to me, I can put it on the website?
Yeah, I'll measure it up, see what it takes.
thank you very much.
We're gonna build a wall about the width of a bookshelf and also
15 sheets
insulate
would be, what, 4 by
that wall
8?
because we weren't able to insulate it.
Or $150 or so, huh?
And pulling the lath out is not a good
I'll
idea.
measure it up tomorrow, see.
There
Can't
was-
pull the lath out?
It's maybe an inch.
Yeah, it's not much, but I thought you could put one batt in there.
No, the problem with the way the building is designed, underneath the windows, you have laths
Right.
and an inch.
Right.
I mean, 1.5 inch sheetrock screw bottoms out, so you can't even use the long screw. But to make a long story short, the windows set out a little bit, so the baseboards has a difference. So when he's gonna run the heat, that's gonna be a straight baseboard from corner to corner to corner to corner. You need a flat wall, so, to kind of kill two birds with one stone, if you put a 2x6 or a 2x8, put insulation in there, and then sheetrock it, and put a piece of wood on the top, you've insulated, you've made it a lot nicer, you've got your baseboard now, and you can put it like a wood shelf on the top, 2x8 or 2x10 piece, or 1x10 piece of wood. Then they give you a nice little shelf for flowers, or, plus it's gonna take care, because the actual brick is cemented over on the inside, there's no insulation, it's just brick and cement, and that's it.
Doesn't sound like
Oh,
it.
that would,
I call it a frost wall.
Have you asked
yeah, that
Mackie?
would save me.
Have you asked Mackie for donations?
No, I haven't. You think they donate?
My son works there.
Okay.
When can you?
I don't, he works in the
One room
lumberyard,
or-
but I'm just saying
Front
they
two.
seem to be like fairly
Front 2
generous
rooms, yeah.
company, and they're
That sounds like a
local,
good
you know,
idea.
here at Sterling and Lunenburg, and, I mean, where do people go? There, Obashan, I mean, it might be worth a shot for, if you have a list of
Do say no.
supplies that you need, if you could send something to me, I could talk to Andrew and ask, you know, I mean, it's always worth a shot,
We'll
right?
measure up a list and
So if you could send me, you know, I don't know, maybe we could get something.
I get your email. Send
Okay,
it tomorrow.
thank you.
Or just email it to me and I'll forward it, either one.
Yeah, however,
Get it on the website.
I'm happy to give him a call tomorrow
Don't that
and
sound
see
like a
if,
good idea?
you know, who I could talk to,
The
or,
sheetrock and that
you
sound
know,
like
I
a
mean,
good
Andrew's worked
idea.
there for a long time, so.
I'll donate, we can donate a truck to help you guys move, and I think we get some of those dolly things, because to move file cabinets, you're gonna have to have something like
Yeah.
that to move them, you know?
Thank you.
See if anybody else has got any that can donate,
I have some.
yeah,
You
okay.
can maybe put a link on the webpage as well for, kind of like there already is one for
day
volunteer for
that-
people, right?
yeah.
Maybe you could have one for
The
materials.
day comes that
as
we're
well.
gonna move, we gotta have something to use.
I think the lower the trailer, the better.
Right.
People have trailers
Actually, we
with
got
a
a
short
trailer
ramp,
too.
wheel them right in there like a car trailer or something.
Yeah, I got a trailer too.
Line all the filing cabinets up all at once, and away you go.
Yes.
Also, it was told to me something about how, the workers, from the prison, that they need, like,
lunches.
we feed them lunches. So, isn't, where the town's low on money, do they need people to donate lunches? And if so,
How many guys do you
I
have?
wouldn't mind donating lunches
Okay.
one day, so.
if you want.
I think we're all set for this week, but we might.
Did you wanna
they
help
might
me,
come
cause I'm
back.
doing it?
How are you? Okay.
Good luck to that.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying, if you wanna help me, I'm gonna do it.
In regards to the school, I think Mr. Spring here should be commended for all the work he's did, volunteer work, and getting that thing on the road, because
Yep.
we're saving, what, 62,000 a year?
Well, yeah, more.
And may I make a suggestion, would it be a good idea if a lot of citizens in town would like to donate maybe one solar plant panel toward the heating of that school, you know? And maybe that would help us in the long run too, you know? They could put it out in the playground, not on a roof, but out in the back. If each person got involved to donate one solar panel, and it would be a step in the right direction to create the unity of the town and save money. But most of all, boy, I commend Mr. Spring for all the work he's done, because I've been over there, and it's a wonderful thing to see that school become the town hall. We had the landlord in years ago when they sold that for they didn't even get $7,000 for it. And when they ripped it down, the contractor that ripped it down, he got $3,000 for each marble fireplace that was in there. It was a valuable thing that went right through our fingers.
So that's, I think, yep, definitely preserving this asset is great, and I'd like to comment and commend, I was going to do it during selectmen comments, but I can now as well. I know Doug and Diana for all of the work that they've done, and I know Mr. Smart has done work, and many people in the community that have done work. I think it says something about the great employees that we have in Templeton, where when they are temporarily laid off, they use that time to help the town that laid them off. I think you don't see that too often in this world, so I want to commend you very sincerely for all the work. Because that allows then people to come in 6 days a week to volunteer or whenever they can, you know. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Also, the state has an energy grants that they end up having. All we have to do as a community is apply for those. From time to time, you will see it in the beacon. All we have to do is end up going to those agencies and get that for lighting, etc. That was, same thing with solar panels.
So I do have three other
Oh, sorry.
points still.
I have three more items.
Yep. The plan that Bob chose with puts the selectmen in the front right room as you come into the building through the front. That room, because that's where the leak from the roof is, needs a little bit of work. So, and we have to build the office that the town administrator is going to occupy. So in the very beginning, we may want to consider temporarily putting the selectmen in that back room, and you use the principal's office until we get that front classroom, into shape. So just as a temporary, and I'm just throwing it out as a temporary possibility.
Adopted Plan B.
So
Which office are you talking about?
the front right, when you walk in the front door.
Yeah, I know where
Yeah.
the selectman's office is gonna be, but which are you talking temporary?
Oh, the back left.
The storage room?
No, the little room.
The one we just.
Little room that we originally discussed as the town administrator's office,
Where-
with the
where
wood
we
fork,
put
with the
all-
wood exposed.
Yeah, where we were gonna put the COA storage stuff?
Maybe, because we can't use the meeting room in the beginning anyway.
Okay,
I'm just throwing that we may not have the office built, is all I'm trying to say.
okay.
And as
Just
the
let me
counters
know.
as you walk in the door. Those types of things probably are not gonna get built
Just let
before
me
the
know.
25th.
Could you send her a note or something?
Leave it in Bill's truck.
I haven't moved anything yet.
You're right, I have it.
So,
And this is the first time something's changed. in this-
oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that's not,
That's the room I would've grabbed, the first one on the right.
So then Holly's posting a bid for the ramp and the restroom. The restroom, we need to did you post something for the restroom, or I don't remember what we
I just put it
talked
on the
about
central
posting.
registry, I need to come up with the bid specs for the rest of
Right.
it.
Yeah, so we've got to figure out what we want to spec for the restroom. I mean, I think, but again, I'm not an architect or an engineer, so I can't say with certainty, but I think there's enough space using the teacher restroom and the closet to make that a unisex handicapped restroom. If we try to retrofit the other two, we've either got to retrofit both of them, or we have to eliminate one and then take all of the fixtures except for one out of the one that we do retrofit. So I think that's a much more costly proposal than if we can try and retrofit the teacher's restroom. But I do think we need an architect or an engineer to help us come up with, is that even doable? So I don't know how we want to pursue that. We did use an architect at the senior center to design the restrooms on the lower level. I mean, he wasn't super cheap, but he wasn't horribly expensive. He did turn it around pretty quickly. So I don't know, if that's something we want to consider. Anybody else has any better ideas of, how we could accomplish that?
I looked because I just wanted to see about the posting, and that's the thing where, with the amount that I think we're gonna spend on it, we just have to get a few quotes. So I could get a few quotes on that.
On the design?
If you wanna make any suggestions.
Telephone quotes.
Yeah,
Right, and architects and engineers aren't subject to the bidding either.
right, it's
Yeah.
just a few quotes.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna have to have some sort of design before somebody can build it.
Right.
Yeah. But you have to, when you go out to bid, you need the specs.
Yeah. Is that, do you have anything else?
No, that was the last three things.
Okay. Any discussion from the Board of Selectmen about anything? Okay. If not, we can move on to the next item, working our way through. Discuss negotiating a contract with Templeton Municipal Light and Water Plant for payroll and vendor warrants. Selectwoman Farrell, if you wanted to, or I don't know, whoever wants to speak on that.
Do you want to speak to him?
Just that I've had an initial conversation. I went over to the Light and Water Department, and we talked. At the time, I have to say that the main concern of Light and Water was with the solar agreement. And really, I don't think there was a lot of interest in going forward on these items as long as that item is not resolved. But I think if we can make some progress on the solar agreement, then that opens the door for more discussions. And frankly, not only was the discussion positive, but also I had a follow-up email indicating that there is willingness to go forward here. And of course, the law and the Department of Revenue are on the town side here. Clearly, if there's services being provided to any agency that's not on the general fund or enterprise fund agency, a contract is in order for those kinds of services. The town provides the vendor warrant, the payroll, and dispatch services. And I think it's very reasonable for the town to do a contract for some kind of compensation for that, particularly under these circumstances that we're in.
Do we want to discuss the pilot, the formal pilot payment now as well? Was that part of your discussion with?
That was also not the main part, but it was mentioned. And rather than having a fixed amount, the orientation, I think, of the department is to have a formula-based system based on kilowatt hours sold, so that as the amount of electricity goes up and down, you have a formula that is linked with the amount of sales. For several reasons, the amount of electric sales in Templeton is going down. Empty houses, also people are conserving more, so that the amount of retained earnings from the previous year is $45,000, I believe. not what it was in the past. So there's a lot to be worked out.
Did you want to add anything, Julie?
No, I just wanted to make sure that we keep on track
Yep, sure.
to get these things going, because, I mean,
ask
as of July 1st, we shouldn't be signing off on vendor payroll for light and water, because we don't have authorization from town meeting, because their budgets were not on the warrant.
Sorry.
I just have a question, like when you're talking to them, when you're negotiating contracts and payments for services, for payroll and vendor warrants and dispatch, and, you know, that ends up a cost to the ratepayer. So, you know, I do have some concerns about that, and really trying to, you know, work better together. I think there's been a lot of, this is just from an outsider looking in, I'm newer here, and it just seems like we're creating, you know, more tension. So I would hate to see cost passed on to the ratepayers, because, you know, especially for like water, there's not that many of them. You know, obviously everyone has electricity, but, you know, things are going up, and I don't know, I don't want any more added burden. Those are just my initial thoughts at the moment, you know, thinking about some of the stuff and what other people have shared with me.
I don't think it's in the interest to soak the ratepayer so that the town can prosper. I agree.
I think that we need to
Something
start,
reasonable
you
is what we
know,
really want to look for. On the other hand, currently, one can argue that the taxpayer is subsidizing the ratepayer.
Because if you don't have sewer,
Right.
there's both sides. We pay taxes to have to have those sewer departments, or water, their vendor warrants done, and I don't get the benefit of that because I have septic, or not me, well, I do personally, but I'm just speaking, you know.
Me
in
too,
general.
but it's our job to look out
Right.
for the whole community.
Right, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether we have water, not water, sewer,
Right.
not water, it's our
Right.
job to be for the public. So those are just some of, there's just a couple of thoughts that I have.
Sorry.
I think the really important thing here is that we develop what our actual cost is in processing the payroll and vendor warrants.
Right.
And then I think we can reasonably negotiate.
Right.
But we have to develop the data first.
Right.
Our accountant is going to provide that information for the vendor warrant, or estimates for the vendor warrant and for the payroll. And I've also talked with the chief of police several times about giving us an estimate of the cost of services from the dispatch department.
And if we move to a bi-weekly payroll, then that's gonna reduce the costs to those departments as well. So all of those factors need to be factored in, but I don't think we can continue to subsidize. You know, I think we need to negotiate, and that's what it is, it's a negotiation.
Like,
Yes.
are you gonna do the same thing for all the enterprise systems, or just?
Yeah, it says, yeah, we just haven't gotten to that part, but.
So I have a concern with, you know, if in fact, all the money has to flow through the treasury, and if in fact, we're supposed to sign off on the warrants of money that flow through the treasury, and because their budget isn't on, doesn't give us the authority to sign off on those warrants, we now have a problem that somebody has to resolve. I mean, if Chapter 164 says that that town meeting doesn't have to approve their budget, then there's gotta be a law somewhere that says selectmen do or don't have to sign their warrants. So we need to, I mean, July 1st is gonna be here in 3 weeks.
I have an opinion from town council on that, which I'll send out to you.
Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
There's only,
You guys
know
have
it.
an answer.
excuse me, it's only one entity can sign vouchers, the selectmen.
Just the
There's only one
select,
entity can
That's right,
sign the
exactly.
vouchers.
Only the
The light
select,
department shouldn't be signing them, that's the law.
can't even delegate that.
And she's gonna tell you that, he followed.
We're not the only town in Massachusetts with a municipal light department.
Right.
It should be real easy to find out how other towns
That's
do
Well,
it.
Ashburnham.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have the
We
same
shouldn't
setup
be-
we do.
We shouldn't be reinventing the wheel.
Right. So hopefully we'll be able to.
You got Ashburnham, you got Princeton, Sterling.
Hudson,
Sterling.
Quite a few meetings.
Yeah.
So we can find out what they do. Okay, are you set with those items? I don't want to cut off, okay. Next,
May I bring up the issue, what's gonna happen with the tax dollar that comes out of that Fairville school?
Tax dollars.
When they're moving out now with everything, right?
we can, that's something that we can look into and put on an agenda.
Huh?
That's something that we can look into and put on a future meeting agenda, because if we're gonna discuss it, it has to be on the agenda. So what we can find out. Okay.
Because like in Gardner, they had the east, the mental place, and we've become nothing but a dumping ground for everything around. Athol has
we can-
83 sex offenders. Gardner, 65% of the people in Gardner are on disabilities and everything.
Yeah, this is, well, we can,
We've
we'll
become a
look,
dumping ground.
we'll look into the
The
Fernal
state
School
is
issue.
responsible for it.
We will look into the Fernal School issue. So the next item, I believe that we dealt with the dispatch service for, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so determine a plan to pursue reduction of costs for regional transportation with Monty Tech and Narragansett Regional School District.
Yeah, it seems like the budget, the state budget is moving at a rapid pace, more rapid than I've seen in a while. Must be an election. So I think we should get final figures sooner rather than later. And if our assessment goes down for transportation for both Monty Tech and Narragansett, we should I don't know how we get that money back. And what was voted at the town meeting. I don't know what the process is. We've never received any of the, when the state kicks in more, the town has never received money back. So if there's a way to do that, we should find out what it is.
What it is.
The one that's planning on that, yeah.
Is there any other discussion on that? Other than looking into it, moving forward to see what that process may be?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like, early July, the budget will probably be signed.
Okay. And next item, just two left. Estimated timeline or date for the return of employees. So as you know, most of our employees have been laid off. We should discuss what date that, obviously the fiscal year begins July 1. Do we want all of the employees to come back on July 1? I don't know if Bob has a...
We discussed that this morning with department heads, been thinking about this. Right now, there are two costs or potential costs for the town involving laid-off employees. Number one, laid-off employees may choose to go elsewhere. Today, I learned about 3 instances where that may happen. One of our long-standing employees, in fact, resigned today, who works in the highway department. We have other laid-off employees who apparently have opportunities for jobs in other communities. And I was informed by a department head today that he's been contacted by the other communities wanting to know what the town is going to be doing. So we have a people issue, an employee issue, number one, and we have a financial issue. Financial issue cuts 2 ways. We're paying unemployment compensation through this month. If we extend the layoffs beyond July 1st, we will continue to accumulate unemployment comp obligations without any funds set aside to pay for that. And I think if you put those two together and you think about it, I think it makes sense to bring back our laid-off employees on July 1 and to, through either a special town meeting or at last resort, use some free cash to cover the obligation that we have incurred this month for unemployment compensation. We are going to have some significant free cash next year because of the real estate activities. We have a third leg of that coming with the tax liens. So we'll have some funds if we have to use that. Now, there's another side to this as well. Some of the employees who are laid off will not be returning. Some of them are taking the health insurance. For every individual who goes off the health insurance rolls, there's a very significant savings to the town. Family plans run $17,000 to $19,000 per person per year, whether it's a family or an individual plan, and the town pays 3/4 of that. So that there will be a few employees not returning who will go off the rolls of the health system, and that represents a savings to the town that we can use later on to apply against our unemployment compensation costs and obligations. So I would recommend that we bring everyone back on the 1st. Certainly, financial issues are important and complicated and frustrating, but we also have to be concerned about the loss of some valuable employees, and that has already happened. And I worry that it will continue to happen, and we have people who have skills, who know the town. We have to go through the long process of recruitment, so I think it makes sense for us to bring back everybody on the 1st.
And it's not just us who says that we have good employees. We're not just like blowing smoke. That is correct, and other communities know that we have good employees. So when they hear, it's pretty easy to make a call over to someone that you heard is laid off, or and say, oh, not only will we pay you more money, but you'll have more stability if you come to our town. So I think, as Bob said, I think not that I've interviewed all of them, but when speaking with some employees that have been laid off, I think this is kind of like, we told them that this is going to be the last time, God willing, that we're going to go through a mess like this, and they are giving us kind of one last chance, expecting to come back July 1. And I figure that if we say to them, well, some will come back right away, some of you will come back on the 15th, it adds another layer of instability and uncertainty into their lives, and that may be the straw that breaks the camel's back with dealing with this town. So I personally believe that bringing back the employees as soon as we can on the 1st is the right decision for the town.
I will make a motion to that effect.
Do I have a second? Second. First and second, any more discussion from the board?
Just
Yeah, sure.
whatever else, we need to have 24-hour police coverage on 4th of July weekend.
Oh, that's something that we'll have to, because the 4th is on a Friday, so.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion? If not, Julie,
Yes.
Doug, John, Diane?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Last item on the agenda is to discuss when the elementary school project will require a ballot election. So as we know, the school, the money for the schematic design was approved at the special town meeting that was held. So that project is moving forward. I represent the board, this board, on that board, the elementary school building committee board. As far as I know, no one told me, we haven't had a meeting since that time because the project, I'm assuming, is moving forward and doesn't require a vote from us. But I think that given the town's financial situations and whatnot, we should have some idea of when, and this wasn't my item, so feel free to correct me if I'm, given the town's financial situation, I think that it would be good to know when we are going to plan on having that ballot, not only for the expense purpose, but just so we're on top, the town is on top of that project as well, because ultimately, the regional school district is handling and through this committee is handling the work because MSBA only deals with school committees, they don't deal with towns. However, Phillipston chose not to go on this project, so this new elementary school will not be like the middle school, high school, where that's on regional land, not town property. This will be a town-owned building, like our other two elementary schools. So I think that it's good to be on top of the process and know when we can get information out to people, because at some point there will have to be the ultimate vote that will require the town to vote yes to expend the millions of dollars to build the school. So I think that for me personally, I think it's a good idea to discuss this now and to find out. I will email Ruth tonight as well when I'm emailing White Pink Bank, and to see when, if there is a next meeting that is on the horizon, and also when she estimates that we will be coming to the ballot time.
You probably won't be able to do that until you actually have a cost.
Oh, right, but it's not gonna be like this season or something, because we have to pick which design, because if we're able to use, not a prefab, what's the word I'm looking for? A model school, that will save our costs because we don't have to start from the ground up. Yeah, it's gonna be down the road, but it would be good to be able to tell people that the project is moving forward and we're looking at a ballot expense, you know, and a vote, you know, next summer or this spring or whatever it may be. Did you want to add anything to that, since that was your...
No, I
okay.
just wanted, and we're gonna have to do appointments for committees.
Oh, right.
For next year.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, I've been trying to do that.
Yeah, so we will do that as well. So I might not be the rep anymore for that. Whoever else wants it, let me know. But yes.
What you might want to try to avoid is, if you have any control over it, is if there's going to be an override vote in the town for the town purposes, you don't want to have it at the same time as the big one for the school.
Right, well, right.
Because people are always saying, you know, you look at that and they go, oh my God, they want this, they want that, they want this, and then they vote for nothing.
Yeah, and I would imagine that if there was going to be a town override vote, again, that it would probably be much sooner than when the school would be on, because it's going to be a while, at least I think, from my understanding, it's going to be a while, months until they're ready to have a final yes or no from the town, but...
We really need to, once we have, you know, even if it's just an estimated cost and an estimated time frame,
Right.
we need to get that into the capital plan, so that as people look at the capital plan, they can see, oh, coming out here in 2 years is gonna be this big chunk of money. You know, I mean, that's the purpose of the capital plan, is to give us visibility of these big expenses. Not that we're gonna execute it or anything like that, it just gives us the visibility. So, and that was a project that did not make it into the capital plan.